Go with Marcos. I think, although it's not AWPA v AWPA, I feel Marcos for me is one of these AWPAs that's on the come up in this Polish scene, really looking good. And a lot of the Polish teams actually have a large impact in their squads. So it's interesting to see how he's been improving. Of course, loot bet there coming up. The odds seem dead even,
which is crazy to me, by the way.
Yeah, definitely. I feel part of that does come into the fact, though, like we've said, contact hard to know, really. I think there might be a bit more to them than meets the eye. But I just think against a team like AVEZ, who are looking really good, solid together, nice and warm, it's going to be hard. And Marcos, there he goes, opening up proceedings brilliantly. Crisp headshot, looking for a bit more as well. He's just playing for the teammates to come through. Smooya, on the side, a little bit of an awkward fight. Does manage to drop one, but it's still a 3-on-2 in favor of this CT side. Smooya finding another on the Glock. Nice, patient taps coming through. And his teammate going to be joining him here as well. So back into a 2-on-2. Okay, here we go. Smooya with a quick headshot. And Bialy is now the only one left. It suddenly has swung out of control for the CT side.
Bialy has bomb control. Kit won't really be in a factor, but he could use his smoke to his advantage. Gonna tuck into Sandwich, looking for a 1v1. Here comes the double peek, and he's just off the mark with that USP. Smooya picking up 4 kills. Look at him go. That Glock was singing true. Just very calm and collected. You see a lot of players in this situation with these peeks he's taking just spam the Glock, but honestly, very controlled pace from Smooya. It's exactly what you need to do with the Glock. Hit the first shot, secure the second. And that allows him, on his newfound role of rifler, to get the AK out right away. Scriff, he's the only one who could afford it. Galil's for the rest. Some MAC-10s and the UMP on auto. He's a man of culture. I appreciate that. Well, AVEZ will be doing what they do best. Typically, AVEZ would force in situations like this, and that's not going to change anytime soon, it seems.
Nice little setup at long. Could be deadly if they're not careful. However, it does leave short very vulnerable here on the AVEZ side. So, contacts, don't quite know it just yet, but they kind of have free passage into that A site, if I'm honest. But with the creep at long coming through from Snappy, he could get caught off if he's not careful. And there you go. Kylar, clean headshot round the tree. We'll find the first frag. Both these players, their position's now going to be known. Kylar left by himself, but on this Deagle, he's got the lineups. They're yet to drop him, and he just keeps hitting the heads. Oh, goodness. 4-on-2 coming in. The flank from behind. Bialy does steal it away from Kylar, but nonetheless, the man of the hour has done all the work in this round. Smooya's the only one left, and he has to 1v3. They've now recovered automatic weaponry as well. They have the bomb. Plenty of time for them to work with. Flash comes in, and Bialy will drop him. Kylar, what a round.
I mean, how well done is that from Kyler? But also playing into the team play there. Just going for those fights, long control, cutting off the help and assistance that Contact had set up, and just running over him. Smooya didn't really stand a chance. And AVEZ answer right back. Honestly, I feel like out of all the teams we watched Script who forced by after losing Pistol, I really do think AVEZ win the majority, and I wish I was been keeping track or I have a notebook, but I'm not, you know, I wish I could. I'm going to start doing that, Script. From now on, not today because I don't have a notebook near me or pen. Actually, I have pens, but no notebook. So, look, I'm halfway there. But I'm going to start keeping track because I think I'm going to go look at the stats, too, if I can pull it up. I feel like AVEZ convert that, honestly, more often than others. Really cool stuff from them. So far into this round, it is just going to be the M4s running amok. And Spinix going to try to catch up. Nice shot in with that Tech 9. He has an M4 and armor now, so hold on. One more kill or a bomb plant would be super slick, but not liking his chances, Scriv. But you know what? You never count anyone out. You never really do.
No, particularly with the last round, right? And a game like this, a team like Contact, I think it's going to be very scrappy Counter-Strike. Just creeping in, taking it slow here as he's trying to find his way on towards that A-bomb site. It's the tougher of the two, with 2 defenders being here, and Bialy creeping around, drops him easily. So, anticlimactic in the end. AVEZ will survive the force buy of Contact. Should be an eco coming into this round. So not an awful lot to write home about here for Contact. AVEZ looking really good after winning their own force bites, spinning things on their head very quickly indeed, and off to a great start on their own map pick.
Coming out swinging. You lose your pistol on your map pick, immediately bounce back, and now you're looking good. Contact having a full save essentially here, Scriv. I do love Smooya's knife, by the way, something you don't see too often. I'm not even sure the name of it, but it takes up a massive amount of the HUD. So it makes me a fan of it. And AVEZ looking to go up 3-1. And I do have a feeling that if Narot dies, or Marcos or Kyler, one of the two, the op will be dropped. I have a feeling. Depending how much money Kyler can make here, I think Narot will give the op over to Marcos. They just need one of these CT players to die to kind of justify it, as they're going to try to pressure Kyler here, Scriv. But honestly, no armor, UMP close range. Do we expect anything else?
Of course not, mate. He's making cash money. He's just doubled that UMP's value. So he's absolutely loving this, and big argument here with the money that they have on that CT side. If they go for a bonus and win this, they are made for a good number of rounds. Love seeing the eco frags, of course. And the AKs do come out here.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, I'm not sure. The buy for me, bare minimum.
Oh, you mean for Contact? Yeah, bare minimum for success. Yeah, 100%. No doubt. This is just enough to default and then move into an execute. And AVEZ did end up dropping an MP9. And Kyler, with all that money from the UMP, dropped the top Marcos and still have some cash left over. So an interesting little mix there, Scriv. That's really neat to see from the AVEZ boys. Without the UMP getting those kills there, I'm not sure they would have maybe justified it. I bet Narot would have, but just a cool little tidbit. And Contact phasing out of that early default. They've had Smooya up in connector for a while now, making sure no one's pushing water, being safe from the spam. And I think he's just going to stick around here and probably late lurk into water as his team sets up. Looks like a monster pop, and maybe they do need the Smooya's flash, so I think he is going to come back. He's the only one with a flash. I think he'll throw the monster nostril flash, or maybe just one over the top, but no matter what, it has to be a good one.
Fingers crossed. Oh, it's kind of a close flash and doesn't really lead to too much. Molly coming in with only 30 seconds left. This is going to be somewhat scary. Narot able to get one almost a second through the smoke as well. He swaps across to the AK. He does eventually go down, but not before Kai gets a double, and Kylar comes in from behind. AVEZ just rolling over them, walking all over them. That looked very easy. Contact, it looked very messy. That bonus buy they go for pays absolute dividends, and they have so much cash available here on the CT side. Meanwhile, on the T side of things, well, not so much. They've bought up bits and pieces here and there. You can see by the minus 700s, a number of deagles, couple flashes, but really not expecting too much here from the T end. Meanwhile, Marcos has got his trusty AWP in hand, looking to get aggressive early on. Should be doable here. Nice little nade coming in onto Smooya. Other than that, a little quieter than I expected. I thought it would be a fast start from Contact particularly, and maybe a bloodbath, but not the case just yet.
Timid. Very timid are the Contact boys. The op peek comes in from Marcos. Able to pick off. I'm assuming his name is Spinex, right? Or Spinx?
It's either Spinex or Spinx. I feel like Spinx, but
okay,
we could be wrong on that. It's a player I've not casted before, I'll be honest.
Same here. As Marcos will double in. I've commentated Marcos enough to know those shots are in his wheelhouse. And while the fire goes down, the flames will roar, and Contact still hoping to find Marcos. And he just peeks for the last time. A little too aggressive. Sperano's going to let him know about it. And Snappy with a running Tech 9. I mean, I think that gun's back with a vengeance lately. Not as good as it used to be, but it's still capable. And if they can find one more pick to get into this site. It's just unfortunate that auto falls. Here comes Snappy. Had to turn away from the flash, and Bialy will make sure to close it out. So 5-1 for AVEZ. Here comes the op and full rifles. This is more than the bare minimum. This is the full-on clothes buy. I don't know why I went with a clothes reference, but you said bare minimum, so that was how I justified it in my head, Scriv.
Mm-hmm. I suppose it is the opposite end, kind of, sort of.
Stretching it, but I'll take it. Thank you for covering.
You know, it's all good, man. It's all good. I think people know what you meant. Yeah, that Molly went through the tree, a little weird. Doesn't really matter, though. Contact going to nullify it very quickly with the smokes. And look to get some early and aggressive pressure here on their T side. But once again, kind of another slow start. AVEZ not fighting back to the aggression. Oh, Markov's got to be careful here. It looks like they're trying to walk in, but they've walked past him. He just slipped under the radar. But then, by proxy, so have they. And the CTs, particularly in the form of Kylar, who's on the way back up to that A-bomb site, may well get caught off guard here. Kylar, though, nice passive position, does spot them out early enough. Tags them up slightly, but the A-bomb site has fallen. They can come up through short with the bomb. Marcos is smoked off, looking to get cheeky around the smoke, but nothing really coming for him. Flash through it, and he's caught off guard massively. They have managed to drop one on that CT end of things, but this is a really weird and messy kind of round. Hard to keep up with for AVEZ, I feel. Particularly, yeah, Spinks now coming in, using this position, this newfound aggression to their successors on the contact end. They'll continue to frag all on to Narok. It doesn't look too good for him. He will end up falling. Second round going the way of contact.
Yeah, that was just AVEZ giving up maybe a bit too much, right? Giving up that bathroom, seeing that one player towards long. Before I continue my thought, let me remind everyone about Hellcase. They are an awesome partner over here. Malta V15, 15% refill bonus, and Malta V to get that extra juice. They have hundreds of cases and giveaways all the time in an esports tournament mode. And trust me when I say this, it is a blast. So check them out. Awesome partner to have. And thank you so much to them throughout the weeks and the tournaments for sticking with us. One more week to go after this, of course, as it's going to be a bit of a pause, a bit of a timeout for AVEZ. Probably discussing how did we just let them DM. Basically, it was like a death match on the site. The rotators couldn't get in. The backup player that was there to help the long player was unable to assist. We're probably discussing, hey, you know what? Maybe we just gave up a bit too much control a little too soon to the contact boys, and they figured that out real quick. So watch AVEZ to just immediately bounce back with what I would imagine being a very aggressive round. I don't think they're going to be timid at all into this next one.
Hopefully going to be back in the action soon. As contact, I feel, taking a lot of time to slow down their newfound momentum. A little dangerous, but at the same time, AVEZ not looking as comfortable as they once were, to be honest with you. That round was kind of a mistake on their end, but was wild. It was very wild as they weren't able to keep up with contact's pace and aggressive positioning. Not quite sure what the issue is here. Hopefully we can feed you some information as and when it comes to us as well, but nothing as yet, unfortunately, folks. Oh, hearing those ticks.
I was going to say, I hear the sound of an unpause.
Hell yeah.
Just like the birds in the morning, that means the sun's coming up. That sound means the game should be going live. It's ingrained in my brain. Sometimes I even have that, they call, you know, the cell phone effect where your phone's in your pocket and you have those ghosts, like phantom vibrations. Sometimes I force myself to hear those ticks and I have to look up and I'm like, oh, it's not unpaused. But this time it's real, Scriv. I am not hallucinating. This time.
Okay, contact looking to repeat their success from the previous round, so albeit in a different area, outside of the B-bomb site early on. Try and find success over there, but always easier said than done. This B-lock from AVEZ is deadly. They have a really solid B-hold on this map, and you can see they have a lot of confidence in bringing the vast majority of their team around here. It's actually a very strong read from them. They will throw some early mollies, however, Contact are not really phased, not going to turn around and hightail it towards A. AVEZ use all these players that they have available to them to throw a bunch of utility, keep them at bay, keep them slowed down, maybe try and chip them. They've not chipped them, but they've still got 3 players here to hold down. The crossfire is sound as well. Now Rot in a great position. Oh, goes a bit early. The shadow play from Esperanto. Whether he meant to do it or not, it's beautiful, and he keeps on fragging. Will eventually fall, but he has done his work for this round. It's now on to the rest of the boys to clutch up.
Marcos, I'm not sure if he's going to be up to the task if he gets a free pick. And no, Otto will absolutely lay him out. 3 now for Contact and AVEZ. They did get a little aggressive in their positioning, not necessarily true aggression with pushing forward and fighting, but they took a little bit of a risk with as many players as they had on to B. And even with the numbers there, Scriv, just unable to best the forces of Contact as they kind of just waltzed in and took the site. AVEZ, money's finally broken. Contact have made the long run. I think Kai bought armor and maybe a deagle or something of the sort. Could have went for a hero M4 and still bought into the next, but I think he's going to be the bank for the op come next round. Even with the lost bonus building, it's just nice to have someone who can drop the op and get full util. Speaking of the op, there's Otto finding the opening pick on Narot. It is just against full USPs, except, as I mentioned, Kai's little buy here, Scriv. And it seems like Contact have a sound default set up, right? They send a couple towards Playground early. Smoothie is tasked with Connector. The rest worry about Monster. But when they're going B, they do like a 1-4 or sometimes a 2-1 or a 1-1-2-3 towards B. They kind of lean heavily whichever way they're going, but it's pretty standard. And so far, I like what I'm seeing from Contact. Their pace is good. They're kind of playing a bit more lackadaisical, which honestly, with the players and the fill-ins that they have, it's kind of all you can do.
Yeah, reliant on the individuals, basically, but trying to add a simpler strategy, I suppose, or a simpler game plan. We'll see. I'm interested to see how Smoothie fares on the rifles. Looking okay so far. Had that great pistol round, of course. But definitely uncomfortable. I feel at this point, and with knowing where he was at in his career and kind of looking good, going well, you know, would have been in a pretty decent NA squad at this point. I think he's just happy to be back and playing some Counter-Strike at a good level, being a free agent for a little while and then not been playing for longer than that, right? So, yeah, and I mean, looking good. He's up on 9 frags, highest fragger on his team. Again, facilitated off with a pistol round, but not to take away from the credit of that. I just want to see how he's going to perform with the AK in hand. And he has a decent chance to show it coming into this one, of course. AVEZ buying up. Uncharacteristic aggression here from them out towards Fountain. We've not really seen this from them as yet. And sending a number of players forwards. I really do like how they approach things, you know, using the numbers early on, because the rotations can be pretty speedy on overpass, right? It tends to be a long round when the rifles are in, particularly with Contact here. They are taking their time, not really rushing in super aggressively. They do get short control very early on. That's kind of because AVEZ give it to them. Kylar, though, manages to find space. Beautiful stuff coming in from him. Kai going to drop 2 on short. The A1S playing into his hands there because Otto didn't get the information in fast enough, was a bit unsure. Is that actually from the left or the right? I don't know. Meanwhile, Smoothie is now left all by himself. Wow. Wow. A flawless round as Kai finds his 3K. AVEZ just absolutely shut them down to hold on to the lead.
That was a lot of, I mean, well done to Kai for finding those fights and allowing to set himself up to win that. But that was a lot of just aggression, information gathering from AVEZ. They knew it was coming. As soon as they got that opening pick, they just clamped down and made sure they didn't let off the gas. Contact forced into them, needed to win a fight, and they simply just couldn't. That's a turnaround from AVEZ. I'm writing that one down, Scriv. I found paper. And I'm finally writing down round 11, Kai 3K, things turn around, and it's on to Contact now to be the next note in my book.
Hell yeah. Let's hope so. Keep it competitive here. That's what we want, of course. And, you know, the Contact that we've not seen very much of, obviously this newer version, we've seen barely anything. They've been taking a lot of time to build the team, where we have some of these other squads that maybe would be in a similar position to them, such as Hellraisers, for example. We saw them yesterday. They're kind of just spamming the Counter-Strike and hoping that that's the way in. And honestly, they've had some lackluster results. Contact, though, taking their time, making sure everything is perfect. And it's a really, really good approach, if you ask me. Kylar finding the first, though, looking solid here. Great little setup. The trades are coming in thick and fast from Contact, but not sure if it's going to be enough. They have to act now before the CT rotations come in. Smooya, meanwhile, cuts off the flank. Will he be able to cut off another? Because it looks like Markov's coming in from the same angle. Yali, meanwhile, oh, this is brilliant. Able to find that bomb. Meanwhile, Smooya has fallen. So it's all into Snappy. 1 on 2. He gets the first. The AWP doesn't care about low HP, and the AWP will drop him. 7th round for AVEZ. Definitely close, and Contact trying something a bit speedier, but AVEZ adjusting well and retaining their lead.
Yeah, these brawls on the B site. I mean, I part of me really wishes that Contact are backing and beefing this up with a bit more utility, right? One more good flash, a smoke to cut off a lane, but they're just kind of tossing utility and then brute forcing in, and AVEZ is able to just trade out. Marcos has good rotation timings. Kyler is 16-7, by the way. I mean, just consistently good throughout this entirety of the start of this match. We're in round 12 and he has 16 kills. A lot of players end like a half or a game with 16 kills. So he is really doing everything that AVEZ requires on top of having 4 assists. So imagine he didn't get those 4 assists, he'd be up to 20, Scriv. Having one hell of a start to this one. Contact right back in. Snappy has to downgrade. 3 AKs and an op. We've seen some shades of defaults, and I think the water control is relatively free. That Contact have been given. I think if they just go back into that default where Smooth's and connector, they do a 2-1-2. They kind of just settle into their own pace again, or even a 1-1-3. Work for that control. It was working early. I'm not really sure what scared them away from it. I think AVEZ aggression might have scared them a wee bit earlier.
Yeah, it definitely seems like there is a chance of that. Getting kind of angry, it looks like, right? A little frustrated at the past few rounds. Speed employed once again, but AVEZ not around this time. It's kind of a nice adjustment from Contact, though, because, you know, they figure recently AVEZ have gone for that aggression with a lot of bodies. So why not try and counter it in this round? The boost is great, though. They have so much in their arsenal right now on this CT side. Markov's found the first frag. Kai up on the boost to drop Esperanto. Kylar sticking around where Marcos once was. It's not as successful for him, but all the same, the idea is there. It looks so good right now from AVEZ. The rest of Contact will try and push up onto the A site, but with only 50 seconds left, 2 men down, they have to make a move. It's really looking rough.
Trying, they really are, but there's Kai finding a gap in the smoke. Snappy doubles in. Khalil working for him as he'll molly that bank player back, allows him to plant while that smoke is still there, a jump up. But this flank could be a bit too quick pace to the M4, and Bialy is simply ready. 2 for him, 2 for Kai. AVEZ go up to 8, retrieve the op, and Contact with the loss and the plant. I mean, Snappy and Spinks, is that where the official name we're calling them? Spinks? Finks? What are we going with?
I feel Spinks. I think
Spinks?
unless,
I like it.
You know, that Twitch chat, that Israeli scene, I'm not sure if he's in EU or in the last where his flag's from. Unless there's someone in the Twitch chat telling us that it's something different. That's what I'm going with, mate.
I
you know,
like Sphinx. I think it rolls off the tongue. I think it's
like
cool.
It's like a Sphinx, isn't it? You know, the Egyptian.
Yeah, just slightly different.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm for it. And I was gonna say only himself and Sappy could buy with utility, and that's exactly the case. Contact feeling they really need a round on this T side. They feel like they're really close to breaking AVEZ's economy, which is partially true. And they think if they get this round, they just get one more, they'll be able to get it, turn it into 2. And they're right, Script. They're going to be tested here.
Double coming in from Navarro. That's absolutely massive, actually. Esperanto, meanwhile, Does trade back. Spinks finding another, so it's not all said and done just yet. Finds a couple, actually. It will be a tough retake. A man down retake with an AWP in play as well. They don't quite have the site control yet, so I really do like this proactive move that they've come in with, but the AWP goes a bit mad, and Bialy's caught out in the open. Contact do put a stop to the tear that AVEZ have been on recently. That constant pressure being applied is eventually enough, and the CT's now no money available with how close these rounds have been coming, so really good chance for Contact to close the gap before the turn of the half here, Keith.
Well, they're officially in the notebook. They took a risk, took a chance, used that utility they needed, and simply just won their fights and broke AVEZ's economy. They had a really good read on that they're going to be a little strapped for cash. It could be a little lacking, maybe a molly or a kit here and there. And Contact take a risk. They say, you know what, we need a round, and it may even just turn into two. And AVEZ are kind of in a situation where their hands are tied, right? You buy here, you're forcing on last. You give up this round. It's 6 on the T side for Contact, which you can consider, honestly, a decent half from them. And so it's a give and take here from AVEZ. Bialy's pretty much double save, so he just says, whatever, I'll just buy a Deagle here and Deagle next. Not a big deal to him. But the rest of the squad is not going to bother investing much past a flash and a couple pistols. And I like this from AVEZ, right? Just concede the 2 that Contact worked for, invested and took a risk for. That's fine. Try to get that 9 to the last. Honestly, CS is at times a game of give and take, and that's kind of what we're seeing here.
Oh, Kylar, we know this position. Looking to repeat history. Okay, he'll get one. Surely dealt with quickly. No way he gets away with a second, and he's still alive. He is relatively low, but Marco's coming in with a USP, catches them while they're distracted. Might just have done enough once again. That tree, man, it's the best angle, apparently. They will spray down 3 very, very quickly, however, on this T side of things. Now in behind, or almost. Come so very close. Kai, 1 on 2. Still, it's come very close, but Kai looking to finish things off. He'll drop the bomb, and Smooya is left in a much tenser 1 versus 1 than I was expecting coming into this round. 50 seconds left. Kai in between the 2 angles, but Smooya has made noise, looking to move in, get aggressive, and just try and finish things off now. Bomb retrieve, and a great angle from Kai is enough to drop him. Oh my goodness, AVEZ do it again, and Contact. Those issues that plagued them early, very early on into this half, rear their ugly head again. I feel that does come down to the fact, you know, newer mixer team and all that. Really struggling against these anti-ecos.
The fact that Kyler gets 2 there, just pivoting around that tree doesn't eat as many bullets as people think. It's actually quite thin, but the risk you run is if you start spraying that tree, he'll peek you. So they don't take the risk. He's able to dance around it, picking them apart, and that I had to change my notes. I had big win to get 2 rounds, scratch out 2, leave that to 1. Contact, just when they think the risk would be rewarded, they get halted. But Kai, speaking of reward, takes a fight, gets shut down. Narok from barrels fighting as he switches things up in towards Pillar, and this is just mayhem.
Crazy stuff. That's kind of how Contact like it, though. It's definitely looking good, but not completely solid. Kylar finding another frag. Smooya's on 1. Otto on 25. Okay. Jeez. My man has balls of steel. There's no other way of putting it. 1 HP, jumping to check that angle when he knew that Kylar was there. He almost goes down, but doesn't. Creates the room, in fact, for the frag. And now Bialy is left 1 on 3, which I don't think is going to be doable for him. Yeah, the fake smoke coming in on A as well. He's grouping around here, maybe looking to cut off the A attack. But of course, they're going B, mate. You have been bamboozled.
Yeah, the sound of the flash has just been a telltale. Kit, no utility from Bialy. Saving grace, Otto and Smooya, 1 bullet apiece will get the job done. And Snap with the M4 and Bialy's head armor gives him a fair fight there. So if he can somehow isolate a fight script, which is going to be so hard, because as soon as he drops, peek from Smooya, damage dealt to Bialy. Up to this ramp he goes from Pit, clearing graffiti, make sure no one's going to peek him from Monster. Time's becoming an issue, but he's picked up a nade. Will he use it? He will. That may just take care of Otto. Forces Otto to peek, and thankfully he did, because if he tried to retreat, that nade might have found him. But Contact do get that all-important 6. AVEZ halted at 9. Honestly, as I said, a bit of give and take from both teams in this half. Both can walk away somewhat content with how that played out. By the way, 20 and 10 for Kyler. Like, he is just storming ahead.
Absolute beast, man. He's some of the rounds that he's had, the impact of them, insurmountable. Like, really, really good stuff. Which is pretty insane. When we see 20 frags and a half, that is actually insane. It's easily, you know, a couple kills consistently, or in the fashion that he's been doing it, picking up some 3 and 4Ks along the way. Could have been a very different half, though, Keith. If Contact hadn't dropped those quote-unquote easy rounds, it could have been a lot closer, if not going their way. And like I said, when it happened that second time, I think some of it does come down to the fact that they're this mixed lineup at the moment, whether this sticks together, but we can definitely say for now, they can be seen as a mix. So yeah, I think that's playing into it. Communication issues, just not quite being clear on the fact. And it cost them. It cost them a slim lead, but a lead nonetheless.
I mean, that's always the challenge with putting rosters together from a bunch of different backgrounds, right? I do think international lineups are the future, but they need a lot of time to start to like click and get together, right? That's why you see a lot of stand-ins. If you're standing in, it's going to be someone from a majority of the country of origin, right, from the team. And look at these live odds shift into AVEZ's favor. We were dead even. If I remember, it was 185 to 185. AVEZ have taken a strong lead in the live odds. Shout out to LoopBet. Awesome partners we have over here for the Malta vibes. But to close out my thought, it's hard to make mixed teams work, international teams work, without putting a lot of time into it. I think this roster could be very successful, but there's just going to be growing pains, as you pointed out.
Okay, well, we've had a frag already come in. Very, very quick stuff.
What?
Kai just charges into A by himself and takes down Otto. CTs are really thrown for a loop. And this has worked perfectly for AVEZ. They've drawn rotations. They have a lot of information to work with. They've not been seen, I don't think. And they're just going to wait. Give it maybe 10 more seconds, 5 more seconds. Kyle starts to push forwards, try and find something else. And the burst comes out towards the B bomb site. Snappy does have a chance to cut off Naurot, but other than that, the bomb's going to go down with a solid man advantage. More damage done onto Snappy and eventually finished. He actually loses that fight against Naurot. Rotations are coming in pretty speedy, but I'm not sure if they're going to be enough. Someone's got to step up in a big way here. It's not going to be Spinks. It's not going to be Smooya. It has to be Esperanto. 1 versus 3 required. He's already found 1 for the round, so a 4K overall. No easy task, especially against these Glocks, and he can't find a single frag in the clutch attempt. So AVEZ continuing that second half where they left off in the first.
Yeah, with the winning ways. Yeah, they're stepping right up. I love how that first pick came in. I'm like, wait, Otto's, did he spawn in? Like, it did, what happened? Like, he immediately just got laid out early. Like a little bit of a game pause, but I already hear the happy sounds of the typing, so that could be a good sign. Contact gonna try to pull an AVEZ, right, on the CT side. That's kind of how AVEZ got off to a really hot start on the CT side. Built that big bank, allowed them to win a rifle round, and then Contact had to take risks. So if Contact could kind of do what AVEZ did to them, win this, build that CT bank, force AVEZ to invest, then having taken a save, you can get 3 rounds basically for the cost of 1. I mean, I can speak volumes how much that helped AVEZ on their CT side. If Contact can do the same script, we'd have a tied game before we know it. But it is going to need someone to step up, just like Kyler has a couple times on these ecos. His deagle's been deadly. We need someone on Contact to do the exact same. We knew Smooya's pistol spin seemingly decent. Otto with that scout, if you can find a couple tag shots, maybe it can snowball into something, but it can't be timid, right? Especially on a map like Overpass, you got to go hunt for the first. Once you get the first, you can fall back, play those quick rotates, but you got to be ahead. You got to go be assertive for the first. And is that Smooya's character? Oh, Smooya's not even using the British character skin, Scriv. Kind of disappointed, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Well, I mean, he can cling on to it, and it is cool, but also at the same time, maybe doesn't want to make it his only character trait. I don't know. And everyone doing.
I mean,
that
what else
funny
does he
accent.
have? I'm just kidding.
Oh, got him.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
He is a king, I guess.
Of the rats, yeah. Yeah. All banter, and especially considering he's English, I feel like out of all the players in the server, he would be the one to get banter the most. So
yeah,
I think fair play.
I don't know. He's a cool guy. He's one of the few players that I've actually chatted to and everything.
I think his talent is. It's funny. I saw a tweet from the Score Esports earlier, and I think it could have been applied to Smooya. More so than Wardell. A tweet came out from the Score while we have a pause. It's good filler. And it said Wardell he was the most undervalued player in CSGO. In my opinion, not quite true. He had offers from big teams, elected not to, wanted to play with friends instead. And then when Valorant came out, he jumped over to that. So I don't think Wardell was overvalued in any sense in Counter-Strike. But if you want to talk about players that are undervalued and perhaps needed more time or needed to put more time into himself, I think Smooya either undervalues himself or maybe some teams undervalued him and what he could bring to the table back when he was looking for that team fresh out of wanting to go international. I think he himself is a big player who's been undervalued at times after the Chaos thing or even before that. So it's cool to see him get another shot here to really prove what he has and what he can bring to a team. And I think it is undervalued by most because if you put him in a team situation, he seems like a very chill guy that would be willing to mold and work with a team. I think this contact fill-in position is a great example, being a rifler, giving up that op that he's very deadly with. So I hope this gives him a bit more consideration. And that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think he has had kind of a tough time. Obviously, Big was a massive opportunity for him, and he did play well. He had some cool moments and some very impactful rounds and all that. I don't necessarily think that he was the problem in that team, but maybe a good person to move for a bit of a difference, right? I don't think it was like, okay, we are losing because of Smooya, but it often is a position, the AWPer, that you look towards to make a change. And I would say, and it's not controversial to say, and he may well admit as well, the change they did make has drastically improved, obviously, their results. So it's kind of fair enough, but he's also just been in a few awkward positions and things like that. And not really found his feet solidly outside of the UK scene just yet. Still young, though, so still got time. And a lot more to prove, I would imagine. Either way, we are back into the action. We're in that contact force by. Excited to see what they have got prepared. No pesky tree plays from them. It's more of a B stack by the looks of things, with Otto taking an advanced position at short with his scout. Does have a teammate on the way in the form of Smooya, in fact. They're slowly rotating players across to A, which will end up being the correct decision, at least it looks like, unless, AVEZ decide to go somewhere else after an initial burst of execution. I don't know. I guess just sending the feelers out there and, trying to spot the first. The first will be Snappy. And Snappy drops Bialy. He does get traded quickly, but still, the damage comes in first from contact. Rotation should come through thick and fast, especially as they see more members here. Smooya taking the head of Kai. This is not looking too good. Kylar, though, continues to be crisp. Might just make the difference. The smokes have come in, and it's created room for the bomb plant.
Smooya, as the smoke fades, given a chance to find another headshot. One more on the cards, not to be. And Spinks tries to come in to help him out, but just a little too late. I thought, and I was obviously not hot mic, but I was talking about pushing my push to talk, and I was saying they got to cancel. They're going to cancel. They have to cancel this execute. But that big kill onto Otto allowed them and gave them that confidence to keep pushing forward. I thought they were just, as soon as Bialy fell and they saw the player jump spotting, then the long player got caught, and they're going to go down connector. They really, I thought they would have. It seemed like the safe play, but AVEZ determined, pushed forward, and cleaned up the site. The force buy not working for contact. You see Smooya budgeting for the op, funny enough, got some cash from those kills. So he'll be the one to drop it, perhaps to Otto, so they can just distribute the wealth in the next. This round shouldn't pack much of a punch, But as I say that, Spinks is able to get one with a Deeg and grab a Mac 10. Definitely not the weapon he wanted, but with damage onto Kai to boot, this round could still get a little spicy.
A nice Sean Connery attempt.
Yeah, spicy.
I feel I'd butcher it if I tried.
Sean Connery. I don't know. I'm just out of my mind.
Yeah, I feel there's a decent number of people in the chat who are not going to know who that is. You know,
Sean
crazy.
who? Did he play CS? Is he a YouTuber? Who is he?
Does he have a TikTok?
Who is this guy? HLTV forum user? Like who is he?
All right, we've had a bit of a slowdown though. And rightly so for AVEZ. It is slightly dicey with the lower HP and it being even, but Contact make a move and it's unsuccessful. So that's what they were waiting for, right? They knew there were players around on long. They've seen them before. It makes sense. They showed a lot of presence on long early on. So yeah, they wait for them to move in. That's really nice from AVEZ. Nice bit of patience. And it pays dividends, actually. Because for a second there, you know, you can kind of see with the Deagle dot in, 10 HP on Kai, even manpower, maybe an angle gets overlooked, and, you know, all of a sudden, but not the case in the end. AVEZ playing the smart game, and it really works for them. And now Contact, very early into this second half, Keith, have their backs up against the wall, and they need to be winning rifle rounds. Can't be letting this one drop, can't be letting the next one drop. Every time they lose one, it looks less and less and less and less likely that they'll be picking up this first map.
At least they're hopeful to find their footing, right? Maybe starting to get a little bit comfortable in their engagements they're taking, so they could carry that over to Mirage. But yeah, it seems like the map is starting to slip and fade. Smooya is going to let everyone know that he's in connector. Kind of banking on this player and Marcos not swinging him, allowing him to escape. So able to get out. Smooya and Otto working together on towards the A site. These B players from Contact forced all the way back. And it seems like Otto and Smooya have done a nice job of keeping their utility alive. For Smooya to go into connector as he did and play as aggressive and comfortable, knowing Otto has his back, it's allowed them to continue to have that full set of utility. Another smoke on Smooya, a molly on Otto to slow things down. So if AVEZ continue to do this A prod, Contact are going to pull a player up and even have utility to slow this down. So really good read from Contact right now.
Oh, this is about to be a bloodbath. They're somewhat aware, I think, of Smooya being around. Spraying into the smoke. He's waiting patiently, ready to pop off at the right time. Trying to get aggressive. It's unsuccessful at first, but it works out. Otto finding frags as well on the AWP. Kylar, good for one, but that is all. Kai, meanwhile, is left on 9 HP. So not a chance. Now down to 5. 15 seconds. I mean, probably does him some good to die, yeah. And he will. But all the same, Contact, like I said, backs up against the wall, gun against their head. What are they going to do? They've got to come up with some kind of an answer. And the sledgehammer comes out of the back pocket. His name is Otto, and he will indeed smash that wall down.
That's just really good utility usage there from Otto and Smooya. Really hanging on to that smoke to re-smoke sandwich as long as Smooya did after being the connected player. It just bodes so well for how the round played out. Able to smoke that out, play around it. Without it, he might be forced back deeper into bathrooms, giving more control for AVEZ, more pressure on Otto. And then Contact, as soon as that smoke fades on Monster, they immediately peek for info. So they're starting to play for more info. They're getting it across the map, and that's a scary sign if you're an AVEZ fan. Contact starting to settle in a bit more. It could be a bit too late, but the signs are there, the positive ones. And they're going to look to transition this into another round. Kyler, a tight pixel amp angle. No damage found. Gets that smoke out of Smooya nice and early now. And it's just a very spread default from AVEZ, really going fishing for a pick.
Nothing presenting itself just yet, though. About 50 seconds left on the clock. Tension kind of building here as Contacts. This round just as important as the last. That CT economy, of course, it's not really had chance to go anywhere. My goodness, you could hear a pin drop right now. Kai just chilling, holding off for this aggression. It's not coming from Contact, though, and the rest of AVEZ will look to join him with Naura on the flank out on the other side. The flash eventually comes in. He takes a peek, and I'm not sure that Spinks spotted them all. Turning away from flashes, but gets caught doing so. He tries his best to stay alive. He's just not able to do it. Esperanto up close, though. Oh, blind as well. Kai gonna drop Smooya. Snappy is the only one really left to hold things down. The AWP is being dealt with by a smoke. He's good for one, but traded. Otto probably looking to get out, or not. Maybe just gonna go for it. Does manage to land a nice shot onto Marcos. But yeah, after that, nothing else presenting itself. He's aware of the fact that they are on the hunt, and thus trying his best to save. So, AVEZ's gonna be up to 13. Contact down in the dumps. Rock bottom almost here in this game. Oh, Otto. Oh, that is painful to watch. Particularly if your name is Smooya and you're being maybe forced away from the AWP. It'd be interesting to see. They might swap it after this map because Otto, I mean, he's looked good, but maybe not as impactful as they'd like. I don't think there's a finger to be pointed at him, though, to be fair.
No, I think it's an interesting dynamic to see Smooya and Otto work together. There's something to be said about an opper who's turned rifler filling in for a team to be playing with the other opper. He knows tendencies, he knows the angles, he knows how oppers operate, being one, obviously, right? So it's cool to see them have that dynamic of working together. He saves utility for the op, Otto holds his angles, and Smooya knows if I fall back at this angle, he's gonna have this angle. Like, that's the angle I would hold, right? So it's a cool balance to see them working together on the A site. At the same time, the issue with that, you can't break out the double up unless you want to break your setups. It puts a wrench in the works on B, right? Because how much have you practiced Smooya going to B with an op if you want to break out a double up? Or how much have you practiced Otto leaving Smooya, pull another rifler up? So just a lot of question marks in this CT side as a whole. Bialy will test my tree theory from earlier. And they say if that angle works for us, Contact probably going to break it out themselves. So they'll Molly and force them back. All the while, Kaya's fallen, so AVEZ, no map control towards B anymore. They could be pushing through. I mean, almost their hands forced to A.
And they're prepared. There's two players very quickly into bathrooms on this side door, ready and waiting, but the approach from Bialy is perfect. Could not be any better than that. Back into a 4-on-3. With the CT split, obviously lacking in the weaponry and the utility and whatnot. So I think AVEZ may well have weathered the storm unless Esperanto pops off on 20 HP. It's an interesting angle. I'm not sure if his gun barrel gets spotted from there. But all the same, it slowed AVEZ down. There's only 15 seconds left. He's taking a great spot here. He's also got a teammate in the form of Snappy to help him out. Spinks on the back end. Oh no, looking for 3. Not going to find it, but the time just isn't really there. Now Rock manages to get the bomb down. Snappy can't capitalize initially, but will take him down. The Deagles clapping heads. Contact get a cheeky stolen round of their own. And well, salt in the wound for AVEZ. He even runs to find the AWP. Defuse will come in easily enough. Contact picking up a key round, actually.
Wow. They took some notes from AVEZ's ecos. They did. They make it work on the CT side. A much needed one. No doubt about it. Moves them in around 22 in a much better position. Otto can break out that op. And AVEZ, right when they feel comfortable, right when they know their hand is forced towards A, really just banking on winning these fights and not getting flanked, doesn't Spinks. Flank from behind, find 2 of the Deagle, and Snappy close it out with 2 of his own. This headshot, you miss that, it's round. And all the hard work goes to the wayside. So Contact, very well done to send Spinks around through showers. AVEZ didn't have time to clear that out in the default, especially after their B player got caught, and they had no map control whatsoever. I like the reads Contact are finding, just AVEZ, right? They have so many rounds already. They have economy still. They're going to continue to push forward. And here's the double op I mentioned. I said they could break out. It could be a possibility. Gonna string a couple pauses together to really discuss who's going where. You can run a double up on A. You can. You send Smooya towards long, the other plays towards sandwich. You both play for your own picks, then you fall back. Well, then after that is when you'll have to pull a rifler up and maybe put it up in heaven, etc., etc. It becomes a bit more harder to hold the site, and you're going to have to play a bit more retakey after the opening pick or after you're forced off with utility into the site. But it is definitely doable. So this is, to me, very intriguing to see how C0NTACT are going to make this work, because as mentioned, Smooya and Otto have been working together on the A site, Scriv.
They need a change, though. I think that's fairly evident. And they've been given a big chance to pull one off. I would imagine Smooya not necessarily putting his foot down, but really heavily suggesting that they put him on an AWP. Just so he can maybe prove himself or have a nice and comfortable round. I can see the T side rifling being a bit easier than the CT side. It's a vastly different approach, I think. And he's clearly got ideas, right? Boost up coming in. Give me a chance, boys. I'll show you. However, the execute coming through from Monster. Nothing from short itself. Down goes the player at barrels. Smooya is able to get one from back Graffiti. And a nice pickup from Esperanto as he catches them off guard. Only good for one, though. Maybe getting a bit giddy on that second. Doesn't matter so much. The AWPs are coming in. They are indeed doing the damage. Kai has crept through. They might not be expecting him here, to be fair. Marcos, meanwhile, tagged down low. So really looking tough for AVEZ to hold on to this round. Kai in a great spot, manages to get the first. He knows that the AWP could be on high. He's able to escape it for just now. I'm not sure if Smooya fired off a shot. The bullet's not quite landing. Marcos, though, on the backside has found a double. And Smooya, well, his decision has been made for him. He will look to save as AVEZ get themselves that 14th.
Oh, he gets out with the op. The oppers both found one apiece, just could not hang on to the pressure that AVEZ threw onto that site. And what will C0NTACT's buy be looking like? AVEZ looking to close this one up and move into the pick of C0NTACT or Mirage. Just to remind everyone, AVEZ have only played Mirage once in the last 3 months, typically a permaban. And as I mentioned, if I had to take a guess, and I wish I could just message one of the AVEZ boys and ask, I think they're phasing out Inferno and bringing in Mirage, which would be a cool little mix-up to their map pool. Keep things fresh and keep your team unpredictable. And we're just going to have another one of those very slow spread defaults from AVEZ, a 2-1-2. We saw C0NTACT do this at times, but AVEZ seemingly a little more comfortable in this, getting a bit more aggressive, right? The two players towards A are prodding a bit more forward than what we saw C0NTACT do. Just two different shades of the same default, which is very interesting to watch.
Oh, beautiful flick from Otto to open up. That's exactly what they needed here on the C0NTACT end. No one around to recover for AVEZ either, so key frag to be finding. And it does look like they're going back to the default reaction, as it were. That B-bomb site. And there's 3 players ready and waiting. An advanced position as well on the A site means that they're happily able to rotate Otto around to help out on B. Smooya is even on his way. They are fairly sold on the fact that it's going to be a B hit. I mean, like I say, it's a good read because it's very, very common here. Smooya getting the backstab. 5-on-3 coming in as they group up in Monster. Surely just get overwhelmed here in the choke point. That is indeed going to be the case. Oh, they line up for a second, but Marcos can't ring the shot off, and C0NTACT staying alive, keeping them away from 15.
Another round where just information gathered. They find that long player in the lurk form. They're able to push off A to find that info after AVEZ's default. And Smooya with all that connector information, able to just stay in water. Really, really well done again from C0NTACT. Playing with that info and really playing with those quick rotates to stack those sites at key moments. Some rounds it doesn't happen. Others, when it happens, it looks so clinical for the C0NTACT boys, and maybe they can pull a couple more of those out of their hat to keep AVEZ off of 15. You have the force up from AVEZ. Double save for a few. Bialy says, all right, hold my probably water. Bialy doesn't strike me as the beer drinking type during a match. Hold my water. I'm gonna go hero AK. And look at this timing from Kai, though. This is really quick. I wonder if the rotator's just going to come hard clear this. He will, but Kai will best snappy scriv. Opens up the back door. Otto has to be quick. Can't afford to miss the shot. He's onto the deagle of his own. And he'll land those shots. And Markov laid out by Smooya, who gets 2 with that AK. And there's another one for him to pick up. That one's been in the game for a while, though. Bialy's been using that for what probably his ages.
True. It is a relic.
Should be put in a museum. We should have a virtual CSGO museum.
Yeah, that would be cool, actually.
That would be cool.
You might be
It has like
though.
in-game highlights, like big plays. You can watch from every angle. Inspect all the guns that were played in big majors. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, like, you don't even have to get the proper ones, right? You can just either reenact them or a picture of, you know, just something to keep a chart of all that kind of stuff would be kind of cool. Either way, fast round coming in from AVEZ. Not expecting too much from them here. They're happy with the one frag they've already picked up, to be honest. Kylar nearly drops Smooya. Not able to do so. Snappy takes a lot of damage through the fire there. But he should eventually fall here. Nade's coming over the top. Pistol against pistol. It's a bit messy, but Otto does take him down. So, not a great deal of damage, but of course, on this comeback train, you need to be winning things as cleanly as possible. Esperanto maybe makes a small mistake and buys for himself rather than getting a drop across. That may well affect him in the following rounds if he's not surviving consistently.
Well, here we go. Round 26. C0NTACT keeping AVEZ off that all-important 15. It's kind of the comfort number, right? As we all know, that's the OT number. It's the one you want to avoid for as long as possible here, C0NTACT. And Smooya and Otto gonna work together. Whenever 2 primary ops get together and one has to rifle, as I mentioned, they kind of just have that natural chemistry built up between the 2. Smooya knows what he wants a rifler to do around him and vice versa. Smooya is going to transition into some long hold. He's going to be pressured with the Oppa Marcos, so Otto is stuck. He is on an island. If he gets a pick, he has to drop his smoke and escape. And you know what? He's not even liking the chance of sticking around for one. He's just going to try to back up now, Scriv. Oh, but he didn't. He's sticking around. This might be a bit too optimistic.
Oh. What has happened there, Otto? I guess he rings a shot off. He realizes there's someone in his way, but he just couldn't land it. Gets taken down. Another frag coming in as well. Smooya also fallen. So 5-on-3. Snappy really has to go large here, and one is not large enough. Quite small, to be honest. Nice pick up from Esperanto, but also getting traded out. AVEZ are just too tight here on the attack. Spinks will look to go for it. I mean, they have the cash, so definitely not crazy. 1-on-3 could happen, but kind of unlikely. It looks like AVEZ is going to be up to 15. C0NTACT, though, are doing a really good job of, you know, keeping it competitive and close and gaining all that important momentum we talk about moving into their own map pick. However, this round, not to be. There's very little time left. They're just not giving him the room. The double peek comes in, and he will be dropped. Textbook stuff as AVEZ move up to, indeed, that map.
Yeah, and that momentum is very real for people who don't believe it is, especially with the economy. Getting blown out is very difficult, right? Like, it's hard. Like, their team has to be playing really well, and you just have to be having a really off game. So the fact they've been able to bring it close bodes well for their confidence moving into their own map pick, because if they got blown out here, it would just hurt. Like, it just wouldn't feel the best. As we have a not live, I think, being typed. Appears Marcos has taken a bit of a lag. And so we're going to have to get a restart on round 27. C0NTACT's by. Probably not as full as they would like it to be. And I'm curious. So Snappy, being the IGL, dropped over the M4 to Esperanto, who in turn gave him the MP9 or something similar. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. You can at least get some utility. I would like to see a couple more kits, perhaps. Smooya, I believe, had one. Otto should afford one. And even, I mean, I don't know. Head armor's not needed, but, you know, it's do or die. Might as well. Here we are, right back into being live.
All right, exciting stuff as the heat is turning up. Just like when you walk into the room, my guy.
Thank you, sir. I am blushing.
I mean, no one else in the room knows, but either way, C0NTACT looking to stay alive. 4 in a row required. AVEZ going for the old classic outside of B, looking for a clean execute, maybe to come later on, maybe to come very quickly. It looks like it will be the latter. Moving in, up against 2 here, trying to stay alive at barrels. Esperanto goes down, Spinks is blind, gives his position away. Not looking good. Kylar just runs into him until he feels something and then sprays him down. Meanwhile, Nalrot holding the flank, does get naded out. But successful in finding 1 already. Clutch required for C0NTACT. Smooya and Otto to keep them alive here on Overpass. Give them a bit more hope of perhaps taking it to overtime. It's not looking good. Otto with a great read onto that flank. Does drop Marcos. Smooya trying to find some kind of an opportunity, but they're briefly peeking. Really not showing too much of themselves here. Great smokes in as well, and Bialy with the double to finish us off. That will be all she wrote for Overpass. 16-11. It's not convincing. It's not super clean. A pretty decent CT side, all things considered, from C0NTACT. But still, AVEZ, the expectant winners, come out on top.
Yeah, they made a really good run, I think, there for a little bit there, C0NTACT. I started to really enjoy the way they were playing for information across the map. It just came a little too late. And at times, it was just AVEZ kind of baiting out that they were going to play for that information and finding that kill. AVEZ, they had a really good CT side, 9-6 to close it out. And especially winning the pistol kind of goes a long way to that. I think we saw a bit from C0NTACT there where some players were having some moments, some Deagles were singing true. Smooya seemingly very comfortable playing with Otto on towards that A site. I want to see how that really transitions into Mirage, a map where you can really flex hard with those double ops. So are they going to continue to play together? Is that a site pairing, or are they going to split them up and share the house? Who knows?
Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, right? And a lot of, I think, just experimenting as well. They may well do some things in practice, doesn't quite come off. I would imagine, to be honest, the practice for this team is fairly loose at the moment, particularly with the 2 new additions actually being like trial players, not quite there on a permanent basis just yet. So yeah, I feel like they're going to do maybe what feels comfortable, maybe what they have found success with on the in the past, sorry. And therefore, Mirage, a really good map to do that. You have so much history on this one. Everybody knows how to play it. Everybody's played it in pugs, in team situations, in mixes like this, where it's, you know, competitive somewhere in between the 2. And it does result in a lot of adaptability, I suppose. So yeah, I'm interested, maybe even within the map itself, how C0NTACT changed things up compared to Overpass.
Oh, I can't wait. We're excited. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it'll be C0NTACT's map pick, of course, it being Mirage. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. After AVEZ have taken their map pick in not so much comfortable favor, but they get it across the line in the end. It is time for Mirage, of course, from Malta Vibes, brought to you by Gaming Malta, the home of gaming excellence, and currently the home of C0NTACT, who are trying to figure things out with a couple stand-ins. I'm not sure exactly where they want to lean with this roster, what the future holds, but for now, it's Spinks, Snappy, and Smuya all tossed into this lineup, and we're going to jump into Mirage, a map that I think is going to play a bit more into the stand-in comfort zone.
Yeah, I think so, right? It definitely is a great map. We'd look to this or Dust 2 as a pick for a team that is newly formed. Mentioned a lot of it before the break. You know, they're all going to be really familiar with this. There's a lot of potential for the AWPs, as you touched on, with Smuya and Otto towards the end there, liking their double AWP setup. So I hope Mirage goes well for them, but AVEZ, I feel there's got to be a reason that they left it in, that they baited the pick, right? Perhaps some work done on this map from them.
You have to think there's been some sort of scrimming. I don't know. I think it's been, what, a couple weeks now that Smuya sent the tweet out and C0NTACT said this is what their roster is going to be looking like moving forward. I saw some chat in the chat as well mentioning, well, I think Emmy would be better in the place of Snappy, but you just have to keep in mind, as an IGL, it takes a while to get everyone on board, right? With the protocols that some may change, some might not. Some new out of spawns like strats, maybe switching up some site positions and trying to make everything work. So there is always going to be growing pains, especially when your roster is not set in stone. So I think everyone's expectations from C0NTACT should probably just come down just a little bit. But the raw talent on this team is very undeniable. And I want to see if Otto can really start to light it up here in Mirage. I think it's a map they're going to be able to find a lot of room on, especially considering it's a newer one AVEZ are going to be allowing through potentially in the future, or at least maybe just for this series against C0NTACT. And that in of itself, Scriv, is exciting.
Yeah, it really is. And this AVEZ team looking good, right? You mentioned at the top of the show, rank 32 right now, on the verge of breaking into the top 30. There are a lot of teams with the online Counter-Strike actually that have been getting themselves in some good positions and playing really well, looking really good. C0NTACT, though, as you see by like the odds that come up and everything in terms of what's being broken down, if you have a quick look at the page on HLTV, they, like you say, have that firepower, have that potential. So Mirage, for me, it's a bit of a clash of styles coming in here. It's what we saw on Overpass, although it did end up kind of being close. It did feel like AVEZ maybe let things slip towards the end, and then once they got comfortable, they were able to clean up. But Mirage is a much harder map, I think, to stop that momentum abruptly. However, still hard to call for me. I think that C0NTACT do have the potential, do have the ability, but still, I think there's like this secret here from AVEZ. Their team coordination on that CT side particularly looked so good. They loved going for the aggression, loved dedicating bodies to the aggression, so we're really confident in it. And if they can employ some of that onto Mirage, they could really get some great control towards your ramps, towards your middles, and shut the T side out early in rounds. It's I think going to be interesting to see whether they have worked on things or whether it's kind of like, actually, guys, maybe now we have two permabans because Inferno's not good, Mirage is not good. So we're a bit screwed if they like to pick Mirage.
Yeah, I guess they are just gonna kind of test these waters and see what the map is like for them. They were playing for information on the CT side as well, which Mirage is a bit more difficult to do so, right? Because less map to work with, and you're playing for information could be a bit more risky, right? Because if you're pushing for information to a default for C0NTACT, they're waiting for that exact play, and they're probably going to punish you 9 times out of 10. Walking down a ramp leaves that player up on the top, easy kill. Towards B, always difficult to find aggression. So I think mid, especially for AVEZ, is going to be a big hot spot. And after watching recently a team like MIBR, watching a team with good communication, really knowing how to shut down mid, it's cool to see AVEZ, a team that hasn't played it much, potentially shuffling into it and seeing how they elect to have a view on the map. Because honestly, let's be honest, it's not stale, but what works has what worked. It's what's worked for Mirage for a while now.
Yeah, for sure, right? It's a weird one with Mirage and talking about whether it needs taking out because it allows a lot of different styles of Counter-Strike to be effective. So in a way, it's a really good all-round map, but it's just been around for so long. And yeah, I think you sum it up very well that it isn't kind of like your Dust 2 and kind of like your Dust 2 still is in that stale, not very deep playbooks for every team across the board, whether, you know, you're 60th or first. It's just the fact that because it's been around for so long, the deep playbook that, yes, it has potential for, maybe has been seen by everyone. I feel there's only so much more that can be done on this map, if I'm honest. But I believe we're about to get into the knife round here, so hopefully should be into the action soon. I don't know. For me, I don't think the knife round's massively impactful coming into Mirage. I'm not sure how you feel. Maybe for the likes of AVEZ, it'd be nice for them to have a prominent CT side, but overall, shouldn't have too much of an effect.
No, I think Contact definitely want to start on that CT side, but I don't think they're too bothered. Wherever they start is kind of just going to be their thing. And it seems like AVEZ are just going to win the knife. So not even a conversation to be had. 4 live at a knife round. Haven't seen that in a long time. They're probably just going to stay put and rock off on this CT side. AVEZ, Contact starting on the T side. Again, a bit of an easier of a map for Snappy to really call on, I think, and move the pieces across the board. Otto will be opping mainly on this T side, I imagine. I don't think they're really going to give that over on the T side to Smuya. Double op CT is obviously what we'll see. But I'm very excited. This Contact roster has had moments and rounds on Overpass of, okay, things are clicking. They're playing well. This is sound Counter-Strike. And then other rounds where you go, ugh. But let's take a look at these live odds. Actually favoring Contact. And I suppose that is just kind of the factor of Contact past rosters and past iterations playing the map a lot, where AVEZ, it's new to them.
Definitely makes sense, right? They have to defy the odds for sure on that Contact, on that AVEZ side of things. Execute coming in for Contact here. Fairly basic stuff. Just smoking off jungle, leaving stairs open. And then looking for a bomb plant. Nice deep nade, does a bit of damage, but nothing too substantial. Going to be, a fully fledged retake until that flash comes in. Perfect. Kylar, not a chance. Now in on these Julies, looking to hold things down from the murder hole, but not going to happen for him. The retake in full flow, and yes, they need to be finding frags. Marcos looks good for one. Esperanto going to take down Bialy. Kai trying to pick up where he left off, and he will. Marcos not dying just yet. This is the big change. Meanwhile, these remaining 2 players are in great spots, but Marcos hitting heads like he does it for fun. Otto, meanwhile, left in the 2-on-1, takes down the Julies, the defuse coming in, and it's successful. The little cheeky teabag from Kai at the end to make sure it happens. And he also finds the kill by the skin of their teeth there. Definitely close, needed a hero, but nonetheless, AVEZ get the pistol.
Pretty sure he's just testing his squats there, Scriv. Not sure exactly what a teabag is, but it seemed like he was just testing those squats out. And maybe if that Contact member had a few more bullets in that Glock, might have been able to get over the line. But as we all know, on T side, you get a plant, you bring it down to 1 player manning on the CT, it'll be a buy, and Bialy gonna be in trouble. Baiting for Kyler very hard. As Kyler's gonna use his cross to the smoke to cross in the site. Spinks is gonna go high. Kyler, Marcos, a kill's a piece. Kyler one more. Spinks has to spin around and he can't do it in time. Esperanto was cut down and Contact's quick explode. I mean, I don't know where all those smokes came from. 1 front stairs, must have been a CT. They missed like a weird stairs smoke. I think it was meant to be a connector smoke. Bit of a mess as AVEZ worked around those smokes, just a bit cleaner than Contact. How else are you gonna put it?
Yeah, not many other ways to put it, to be fair. Contact now coming through with soft eco. Esperanto's got a bit of something. Snappy's got a bit of something, but not too much to work with here across the board. The Deagles could be deadly. We have seen that in this series. But expecting AVEZ to pick things up here. Interesting to see Marcos on the USB, right? So we can get that AWP out as soon as possible. Might be a bit sad for him if he does end up going down to one of these pistols that have been bought up. Yeah, maybe needs to be careful. Kind of an aggressive angle. The Deagle looking for his head. Doesn't come close. Meanwhile, Kai finding the first frag. So, looks pretty comfortable. Kylar above the smoke, finding success as well. 5-on-3. I would imagine the worst of it is over. Bialy getting another. Yeah, all the frags coming in. Nice and easy. A team ace, Keith. Beautiful to see.
Teammates always feel good. Everyone gets a high five around the board. And here comes contact. Up for Otto. No surprise for anybody. Ought to be no surprise. Okay, I'll stop. That wasn't that funny.
You've not had a dad joke for a while, to be fair.
I was due for one. It really was bound to happen, Script.
It's fair, man. It's fair. Oh my goodness. You know what isn't fair? These nades, bro, doing so much damage. The aggression coming in. AVEZ just, yeah, tapping into overpass, feeling confident. Not going well for them, though. Esperanto does drop. Smooya's still alive in and around the smoke. If he finds another here, would be absolutely criminal. Not going to be the case, however. And a very fast round to open up our first showing of the guns. And it will go the way of AVEZ. Look for a second like contact. We're going to take it, but hard to call. Really hard to call and hard to keep up with, it appears, for the T side.
There's that aggression from AVEZ. We kind of mentioned, right? Are we going to see more of a standard play from AVEZ early to kind of set the pace and get themselves comfortable on the map? Or are they going to be aggressive towards mid, really taking the fight to contact? And that was the case. Just a very aggressive, we're taking the control we want type of mindset into that round. And that's a tempo setter. Those nades are deadly. Snappy will lay on the kitchen floor. And here comes the rest of contact, Scriv.
Oh, going to be a mess. Going to be an absolute mess here. It's just hard to tell which team comes out on top. It'll be the CT side real fast, though. Look for a second with the two players still being alive and, you know, the rotation's not quite in yet, that maybe they find ahead and get the bomb down, but no. The guys that were there, all that were needed. And AVEZ move up to 5 really fast. It feels like only moments ago we were seeing those loot bet odds come up. And now AVEZ looking to defy them, and so far they are.
5-0, breaking out those double ops. I think the observer accidentally hit escape. We'll get another escape in a moment to clear that out. As it seems, if you take a look at the mini-map, it is just a bit of a mid default coming from contact. You have the one lurk player in Smooya just in halls, kind of doing what he does. And the rest looking to converge on mid. 2 towards top. And 2 towards underpass. Gonna just keep it standard, keep it simple. AVEZ not playing a player in connector early. This may be a telltale sign of how they want to play mid and A. With an aggressive player A and no support mid. We'll see if that changes as the game develops here, Scrib.
Marcos to open up. Snappy tagged up. Not looking too good at all for contact once again off the early starts. It looks like they're trying to employ a very fast play style, and AVEZ are here for it. I think they're very prepared for it, in fact. That nade does barely any damage. What the hell? Nades don't make any sense in this game, dude. Another kill coming in, though, for the CT side. Another kill coming in for Kylar himself. Looking solid. Snappy the first one to chime in for contact, and the only one to chime in for contact. Yeah. I mean, what else do you want me to say? AVEZ are looking unstoppable right now.
They're just a machine. In your face, tradable. Marcos is up. What can contact do? You need to take a pause, right? Take a moment. Are we buying here, boys? Is this a half buy? I think Snappy is going to be quick on the tells here. Everyone half buy. Otto, you budget to get that op out, or Smooya can full save for you, whatever works. And next round has to be ours. Probably doing a bit of a quick play. If I was a guessing man, this buy is either a quick B explode or a halls pop. Not a lot of depth in this purchase, especially with the Tech 9s. Can't really default. And with the early smoke Smooya is throwing towards top mid, Screamers are going to put a little bit of a false front here with Snappy throwing some utility. He'll come back late and throw flashes for us. And it's just going to be a B explode script. Overwhelm in numbers. And really just try to facilitate a plant and hope your post plants go well.
Yeah, I think so, right? That's the first step for contacts. one step at a time. A very good way for them to approach things as this newer lineup. Now they're going to take down Spinks on that first approach. They will manage to just about make it into the site. However, getting the bomb down is another task. 2 players here very quickly at the back end towards market. More rotations coming in. Of course, that player on the other side of the smoke short as well. Snappy does find one. Again, seems to be fairly consistent here. They have lost a couple on the CT side, but that will be all. AVEZ again. Looking really, really good. You've got a lot more to break down than I do, that's for sure.
Before I break into it, though, we're just going to break into Hellcatch. We're going to talk about it. We're not breaking in, we're talking about it. Malta, you stretch the money on your account. Malta V15 for refill bonus. Cases on cases on cases on cases. What else do I have to say? Well, I'll tell you, there's an esports tournament mode that's at the last, as well as tons of giveaways. They're awesome partners to have over here for Malta. Vibes, good vibes all across the board. An opening pick for Contact. That's an opening vibe they've been desperately needing, Scriv.
Oh, another as well. Yali then going to be tested. Tries to peek out and Spinks claps him. Marcos, meanwhile, on the AWP does find one. Looking to get aggressive. Gets that tag. I think he was dead to rights there anyway. And this time, Contact with the speed, with the pace. What they were looking for, the early opening picks, go their way. And they finally win a round. Whether that remains consistent is another question, but for now, I think they're happy to, at the very least, deny the potential of a 16-0.
Well, now Contact know, right? They've had mid a couple times here in Rifles, and no one from Connector has pressured them or fought them. And now Contact have just confirmed what they've already kind of expected. 2 players playing A, 1 ramp, 1 close site or under Balk. They're playing aggressive towards A, stacking numbers towards A site, and playing into shutting you down if you try to come up Connector, not necessarily trying to fight in towards middle. But Kai didn't calculate for that secondary op Divine Samuya. Pressure's now on Auto, as AVEZ continue to be more of an A aggressive, more A standard team in their defaults. No reason to really change anything until Contact really make the adjustment. Both getting mid control for free here and the info they have on last round, I think they're starting to figure this out on the Contact side, Scriv.
Esperanto. Oh, great angle for him. He misses the shot, however. The opportunity and the timing, you know, the things he couldn't control were there. His mechanics, the thing he can control, not so much. Still a difficult shot to land. The one that they desperately needed at this point. Position kind of given away, and AVEZ having more of an idea that it is indeed going to be the A-bomb site. Coming in behind their connector smoke. This is a good response. Bialy getting aggressive in ramp. Does molly it off, so it doesn't fully dedicate, but they have somewhat of a flank to work with here. Is it going to be needed? Well, no. He ends up going down. Marcos! That wallbang is nuts. Turns things around, completely finds a third as well. What a beast. What a beast as he continues to just frag out on that AWP, looking so, so good. I thought, honestly, with Bialy going down on the flank so fast that it would have been a decent chance for Contact. But man of the hour Marcos says, actually, it'll be R8, thank you very much. Denying them the string and just straight back to square one for Contact.
I have a feeling Marcos and Kyler have a big say in that they wanted to play Mirage. I think it fits Marcos' style beautifully, right? Flexible, across the map, so many angles and different positions for him to play, and it suits their double up setup when they want it. I think Marcos, Kai, and Kyler really had a big say in wanting to play this map, and rightfully so. I mean, this has been a blistering pace, and the double ops are just finding those opening picks, and they're having their moments to pop off. AVEZ, although they're playing a bit off standard with A stacks instead of fighting for mid consistently, it's been working. But Contact find the re-kill here, Scriv, and their eyes are peeled as they're looking to try to waltz into the A site, but very timid, honestly.
Oh, and the bomb attempt in the open. Marcos comes so close. Bialy's in to back him up. They get the desired result, which is, of course, finding the man advantage and dropping the bomb. Now onto that T side to try and recover things back. And, well, An unenviable position here. Tag comes in onto Otto. Marco's just spamming away. Otto does drop Bialy. Ooh, and a tight little headshot angle, but Esperanto, despite Marcos being completely caught off guard, really not spotting him, doesn't find the frag. Bit of a blunder coming in. He gets it the second time around, meanwhile. Kai's in with the secondary AWP here to try and deny the bomb plant once again. Has to be careful. Otto's waiting for him on the other side. Meanwhile, on that left-hand side of the site, looking good here for AVEZ on the flank. However, the headshot comes in onto Kai. It'll all be down to Naurot. 1 on 3, and he can't get it done. Contact, it doesn't take them as long to get a foot back in the door this time.
Yeah, they really did keep it simple, right? Just a little bit of mid-pressure, trade out that player after the opening pick that AVEZ found, and then they just waltz into A. AVEZ getting caught with 2 players in CT, typically having a player in sight, right, or under balcony, just getting caught with a little less control than they would necessarily wanted. Good timing from Contact. They have broken AVEZ's money. These rounds have been close at times. AVEZ haven't been able to build up the nicest of banks, so Contact looking like they not necessarily gifted a third, but it's almost Destiny, Scriv. I put a lot of pressure on Contact saying it's Destiny as Kai playing that angle well, finds a couple body shots. Could have walked away with nothing, as these pistols now will be the next up. But as the smoke fades, I have a feeling their life is going to be cut short into this round. And only losing 1 player on the Contact side, pretty decent.
It needs to keep rolling, though. It needs to keep happening for them. AVEZ's economy has been brought down to a workable level, but all the same, they have a lot of room to work with and room to make mistakes, room to be experimental, try something different. So it's going to be hard. Oh, the mid-aggression coming in, a narrowly missed shot from Otto. Was blind, to be fair to him. The mid-aggression actually stopped. It was more the underpass. Snappy. Lucky to be alive. Great tag coming in. A great read, however, from Contact to feel that, well, the B-bomb site might be vulnerable here. Naurot is in a fantastic position, meanwhile, but he panics. Jumps the gun a bit early. Maybe thinking he'd been spotted by the person distributing those footsteps. It wasn't the case. He could have had more. The rest of the team going to look to retake it, but it's certainly going to be difficult.
Gonna give it a go, aren't they? They need a kill from Market to allow Kyler to really justify this push. A kill would essentially pull Snappy off this angle, and they're not going to do it. Let Kyler play for exits. Marcos can be good with that op. Just didn't like the way that one was feeling. And Contact going to get a 4th Scriv. Started rough, but the bounce back is on. Otto even hunts a wee bit off of Catwalk to find 1. So anything Kyler finds here is great. I think last second he's going to flash and cross that AK, or hoping the bomb gives it a bit of a push. A flash and go for it. You have to. And he is going to be able to make out like a bandit. 3 alive. That screams buyback to me.
Yeah, they'll go for it. Contact, though, starting to close the gap. Feeling confident, going for another quick A push. This has been successful in the past, albeit hard to replicate, I feel. Kylar in for 1, Bialy chiming in as well. They work in tandem between Default, between Dark. Looks so good. Snappy, the only one to find a frag. I've said that a fair few times in rounds like this, but for now, it'll be down to Otto. Gets Molly down. Hits a pretty nuts flick there onto Naurot. Okay. Maybe a chance back into the round, but still looking really, really tough. 1 minute and 10 seconds. Bomb away from him. Money across the board is decent, so definitely could try and go for this, but then saving the AWP. Do you want to do that? A lot of options. A lot of options. And going for the attack seems to be, honestly, one of the worst ones, but perhaps not as much risk associated with it. He tries to get the lineup there, but he's fully blind. Nothing he could do. And AVEZ back in with the 9th. The 11-4 definitely still capable.
Definitely. But with the double ops coming back out, Kai been able to find some nice picks towards B and play off of Cat nicely. It allows Marcos, I think, also with the double ops, to kind of be aggressive like he wants. When he's the only one with an op, he kind of plays not timid, but he definitely doesn't get in their faces as much as I think he wants to. So look for that bit of a change, as they are going to be playing Kai in towards connector, not towards the B site. No one towards Cat. A late rotate from Kyler to kind of pick up that Cat mantle, as AVEZ continue to have a bit more of A stack, a little more A pressure than most teams. Again, mid is typically the hot point, but AVEZ keeping with what's been working. If they can keep contact off of 5, it'd be super ideal, Scriv.
Ooh. That was an aggressive, wide kind of swing from Smooya. He's lucky to be alive, to be honest with you. A rare missed shot. Kai will take down Otto second time around. Oh, beautifully timed peek coming in. Kylar's able to find one, but Naura also getting a piece of the pie. Brilliant stuff. Again, AVEZ looking so good. Spinks will be the only one left. C0NTACT have hit that brick wall once again, Keith.
Spinks, I mean, if he could pull this off, be wild and much needed for C0NTACT, but because time into this round is going to come to an end shortly. 24 seconds for him to make this a reality. And there you have it. Marcos not going to allow him to find anything off that flash. 10 rounds for AVEZ. And round 15, C0NTACT's buy will be struggling. But what a hold from Kyler here. Again, one of the first times they've had a player in towards ladder room. And look how it works. The player window spams to allow Kyler to take that peek. Without it, I don't know if he would have been able to get 2. I think he probably gets traded. But with the spam in from window, get their attention for a split second, communication through the roof from AVEZ. That was a set play.
Solid one of that. C0NTACT going back to, well, the tried and tested, not necessarily old reliable. The A bomb site. Not as fast as we've seen from them in the past, but I still think they're looking to just burst out. They have baited some utility, but not an awful lot here from AVEZ. They themselves are somewhat lacking, just a few smokes to work with. So bare minimum here in terms of the utility. The weaponry not looking good either. Bialy, meanwhile, in dark once again. They know that he's here. His flash comes in. He's not able to find it. It's Kai, though, on the AWP, who is showing not just Marcos can find success on this weapon. He will eventually go down, but surely it's done enough. He has indeed. Double from Kylar to finish it off. And, well, the two names, I think, that surmise that half for AVEZ. 18 frags for Kylar, 17 for Kai. Really solid showing. Marcos as well, I think, is up there. Nonetheless, it's an 11th round coming through for AVEZ. Yeah, Marcos on 12. Pretty decent. Pretty decent. But, yeah, AVEZ, it seems they did indeed have that secret plan. And C0NTACT are the first ones to fall into the trap.
Yeah, the T side is not necessarily what I was looking for C0NTACT. I think they hit the bare minimum number of 4 on their map pick on the T side. I think the CT side is really what's going to be the true test for me. It's just unfortunate they couldn't get 5 to alleviate that pressure, the pistol and the force and the following. Because now you're in a weird spot. I think pistol is definitely needed for them. But if they can shift into what AVEZ did, the double ops, right? Letting Kai be the flex, Marcos kind of the more standard opper. I think that's going to be a really cool little bit of a mix between Smooya and Otto, who, Otto, credit to him on the T side, played relatively well, was able to find some hot picks for the team, trade out some teammates. It's just C0NTACT, I thought at some point figured out that AVEZ were kind of just giving mid very early on, a little bit of utility from C0NTACT, and I think if they played a bit more default centric across the map, could have really alleviated a lot more pressure and forced AVEZ to play for more information, Scriv. But look at these live odds. I mean, no surprise after that half. Then shout out to Lubet, of course.
Of course. Their continued support is appreciated, right? All 10 weeks, we've got 1.5 left, I guess it's safe to say. Been fairly busy time for everyone involved and loving the support as always. Execute over the top, though, Keith. Taking a leaf from the contact book here. It's a little deeper. They only have the one smoke, but all the same, it's very similar in thought process. Markov's going to find the first. The retake, once again, the only option for contact, as is so common on that CT side of pistol rounds. Flash through the smoke. Not successful. Spink's running out of ammo. It's Esperanto to find two, though. This is where the action's going down. He eventually starts to miss and will be hunted. However, it's created room for the rest of the team, and Snappy snuck in, going to try and go for the 10-second defuse, but not going to happen at all. His teammate gets dropped as well. So, AVEZ, 12th round, pistol coming in. Once again, contact. It's the worst possible start, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. You don't win this force, it's 13. You can't buy 14. It goes almost without saying that this force buy needs something. Flash towards top mid. AVEZ gonna go out towards mid. Kai's got the first. He has been on a bit of a burner, bit of a heater. And AVEZ look to just gather mid control. They'll have Bialy spotting C all the way through T into any A pushes. And this is what you basically call the ultimate safe play. Put your rifles top mid. Right, let one player work B, one guy worries about A push, and just play the distance, play the range. Connector is always a risk, going up connector against pistols, but the fact that they got the first definitely makes it a bit easier, and that one will help even more so.
Slowed way down after those initial frags here. Contact split across the map. Really desperate, I suppose. At this point, it just goes from being a round that's slimly winnable to trying to find damage. Bar someone going insane. Spinks does manage to find one, and Snappy's in a great position in behind, but he's hurt at the very last second. Tried his best. Not going to happen for him. Spinks in with another. They do need to shut him down quickly, and well, thank goodness he runs out of ammo, because he was looking close to Bialy's head there. Smooya, meanwhile, he can also find the heads. Flash over the top. 1 versus 2. The damage is already good. That flick so close. But not able to get it done in the end. AVEZ will weather the storm, move up to 13.
And here's that save I talked about. And the dreaded 14 glooms with it, doesn't it? Can't really invest. You just can't. And it's a quick pop. Spinix could be in some trouble. Nice shot. Spinks with the first. Esperanto, Deagle at triple. And AVEZ, they've slowed down since that. They're going to use some utility. He's able to find a second. The third on the menu. The Molly will take his life before the bullets can connect. Otto's trying to fight back in Scriv, but man, that was a valiant effort.
Okay, here we go. We might have an opportunity for a few more, though. They're really watching CT here. Yeah, Smooya trying his best, but just peaked by 2 players at once. Not going to happen for him. Snappy on a 5-7. Love to see it. Makes a rare appearance and very quickly sent to the grave. Up to 14. Contact with their work cut out here. AVEZ really, really surprising. I definitely could see them winning it in a competitive kind of fashion, right? And they did indeed do some work, but I figured the fight from Contact would be a bit stronger than this. Not to be harsh to them, but they really have not looked good. And then they come into the CT side, and they don't really have a chance to get started, is kind of the issue with the second half.
Hardo. He's going hunting. Bialy. Oh, that's a left angle peek, and the crosshair had to be so prime. Kyler's in. Double entry. Spinks will try. He gets 2, but it's just not enough. If Otto got 1 then killed, maybe that would have done the job. But now there's smoke and utility for Contact to deal with. And Smooya is going to have to make some sort of play here, Scriv. And he, too, gets bested.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen for them. Up to 15. Map and match point real fast here for AVEZ. Mirage looking solid. Certainly would like to see them employ this against a slightly higher caliber team. No offense to the Contact boys, give them time, but at the moment, a lot of work to be done. That is clear. So yeah, it's kind of hard, right? You take it with a pinch of salt. Clearly, they've done some work. It's not a complete mess from AVEZ. They have had, and we've not seen much of their T side, but on the CT side, they have had some nice little setups. The double orbs working beautifully, but maybe need to play a team who are a bit more proficient on it before we start kind of singing from the heavens.
Yeah, they're gonna need some sort of godsend, aren't they? And Kai gonna group up with Bialy. That's Kyler. Is doing a bit of a fake over here. They've thrown the smokes. They're tossing the mollies. Can they get the opening pick? Sphinx into the fire, into the safety of Sandwich. Snappy with the MP9 gets traded out. Here is Narot's jumping out. The bomb's been spotted towards B. The numbers are shifting. And AVEZ, they need their boys over here quick.
Real fast. Narot in for 1 second as well. Spinning around to find more, and he might just get it. No. They both fluff it a bit. Esperanto eventually able to drop him, but surely the work has been done. 20 HP, 37 HP for these 2 remaining players. Not looking good. Esperanto has to clutch up massively. Spots the shoulder, takes him down into the one-on-one, but Marcos's timing is absolutely on point. 16-4, an incredibly quick cleanup there from AVEZ. And unfortunately, we will be waving goodbye to Contact.
And I'm not sure if that is a mix of Contact